Hello guys, it's Maddie Simlish and welcome to another video where today I am building a witch's cottage kind of in the woods, which I've actually done very recently. It's one of the more recent videos on my channel. You can check that out if you haven't already, but yeah, I did build a witch's cottage in the woods. I actually built it in Glimmerbrook, but true to my sort of usual style, it was still quite colourful. It was actually very girly, so it had like lots of sort of pink. But I wanted to do something a little bit different and go for a darker theme. So kind of what you'd, I guess, more traditionally think of. It's a haunted house as well, so very sort of paranormal, realm of magic and vampire vibes. Those are the packs that I used a lot in this build. And I guess what you'd kind of associate with that is lots of kind of dark colours, lots of black, lots of dark sort of furniture, some creepy looking stuff. So yeah, that's what I went for. So a little bit more traditional, I guess, especially as this was built in Forgotten Hollow as well. So it kind of matches in that sense. But yeah, I really did sort of like that witch's sort of house that I did last time. But like I say, I wanted to just change it up a little bit. So it's relatively similar in terms of kind of size, and I used a lot of the same kind of concepts, such as like curved roofs, which I think look a little bit magical. I don't know, that's just what I think. I don't know. But yeah, I really liked sort of exploring something a little bit more dark and creepy, which I don't usually do. Usually for me, like the more colour the better, but I've been experimenting a little bit more with sort of lighter and whiter builds as well as darker builds as well, because I think it's really good to challenge yourself. So yeah, I went very dark and gothic, and actually, you know, by doing that I got to use a lot of items that I never really used. Like I never really have used the sort of vampire pack items. I mean, I might use a few like here and there, but on the whole it doesn't really fit into like, I don't know, a modern home or a suburban home or something like that. So yeah, those kind of items I don't typically tend to use, so it was nice to just try them out for once, because yeah, like sort of gothic builds and stuff is just not my style. Even this, I mean, it's not really a gothic build, not that I would say so anyway. So yeah, it's just not really my style. It's not what I usually go for, so it was nice to change it up a little bit, go for something different, and yeah, try out a very sort of dark and spooky style, and like I say, also lots of realm of magic as well, because it's this witch, well, I mean spellcaster, but you know, I think witch is, I don't know, the better term, but yeah, essentially the sim would be a spellcaster. And I've been using a lot of kind of realm of magic doors and windows lately. I mean, especially in my witches builds, of course. But yeah, they're actually really nice, and I love the kind of stained glass style. And they've got this kind of swatch, which is black with little hints of like blue and purple. I think it's really, really nice. And they're actually really, really beautiful. I mean, the circular shape of some of the windows can be a little bit awkward sometimes, but yeah, I think overall they are really, really nice to use. And I definitely think I'll be using them a little bit more, especially those kind of like rectangular windows. They're probably a little bit more universal, but yeah, I think they're really, really cute. And actually, I should tell you, like, the purpose of this build is I wanted to work on my landscaping. I've mentioned many times that I think landscaping and roofing are my least favorite things to do when I'm building, and actually like the things that I am worse at. So I wanted to really focus on building a really nice sort of exterior landscaping situation. Now, as you can see, I've now moved the house onto a little bit of a hill, just so I can start working on that landscaping, because I had the idea of doing this really sort of gorgeous path leading up to the house. I didn't film me sort of making the hill, not on purpose. I thought it was recording, but it wasn't. It may have something to do with the fact that I keep ignoring my computer's warnings that I'm running out of space, but who can be sure? So yeah, it didn't really film, and I had actually placed a few sort of trees and stuff at that point, but I kind of took the opportunity where it wasn't recording just to kind of start again with some of the sort of trees and plants that I was using, because I wasn't too happy with them. But yeah, I was able to get very experimental. I did sort of cut it short a little bit so you don't have to just watch me for 5 minutes placing rocks. But yeah, I put these kind of dark rocks around all the trees and up the path. And I was so happy with the look of this. And basically, like, a little background, I think I have kind of got better at landscaping. It's always one of those things that I just feel like everything I do just doesn't look good, and you're watching like other sort of people building and they just make them like the most gorgeous gardens and front gardens and stuff, and I never know how to do it. So I really wanted to push myself. And yeah, I have gotten a little bit better, but sometimes you see builds where basically all of the garden and the front of the house is just plants and trees, and it's really gorgeous. It's really colourful. It just looks absolutely amazing. So that's kind of what I wanted to go for, is go all out. Basically, I wanted that to be the main feature of this build, not the house. Hence why I kind of changed up my order a little bit, and I sort of I kind of started with the floor plan and then worked on the exterior of the house and then focused on the landscaping before I did any of the sort of interiors. But yeah, I got to like this kind of point, I think, or maybe a little bit further on, and I was like, this looks good, maybe I should stop here. But I was trying to sort of remind myself that I'm thinking of these like really gorgeous, really huge sort of gardens. That's what I was going for. I think that's usually my usual style, is just to sort of place a few trees, a few sort of bushes and flowers and stuff, and say, okay, that looks good, I'll stop there. But I really wanted to go out. I really wanted to push myself and just use as much as I could, use as many sort of plants and bushes and rocks and all sorts that I could. So yeah, I kind of decorated the path. It's a little bit difficult sometimes building on raised terrain because sometimes things float. So I did have to use a few like stacked rocks to try and give the illusion that it wasn't floating when it was. But yeah, this is kind of when I thought this looks good, but it wasn't quite enough. So I did keep adding some things to it. I added some lights, but you'll see very soon that I added some sort of bushy hedges, and they really made it complete. Like, that was the moment that I thought, yeah, this is exactly what I'm going for. And here I'm just adding some indoor plants because they're in the kind of indoor plant section of the build catalogue, so I never ever think to use them when I'm sort of decorating the outside of the house. But actually some of them work really well, and some of them are actually made to be outdoor plants, but they're just in the kind of indoor plant category. So I laid out all the ones that I think that I could use and then just started sort of placing them around. Some worked, some didn't, but some, yeah, really sort of added to the garden, and I was super happy with it. And just, you know, the reason that I thought this worked so well with like a dark cottage, because at first it doesn't really feel like it does, because I mean, first of all, I'm building in Forgotten Hollow, which is like super dark, like dark woods, dark forest, and you know, I'm surrounded by sort of vampires and stuff. And also it is, of course, like a dark witch's cottage with like a black theme. So I think the temptation is probably just to go for like dead plants and dead flowers and things like that to give it a bit of a creepy vibe. But I like the idea that, yeah, it's sort of a town of vampires, but you can tell immediately that a witch lives here, or someone that does magic, because, you know, it's alive. The rest of the woods is very dark and dead, but in this garden there's just lots of life, there's lots of plants, it's very lush, it's very colourful, and to sort of achieve that amongst the dark sort of forest woods of Forgotten Hollow, it can only be someone who knows how to do magic. That's kind of what I was imagining. Like, you walk down the street and every sort of house looks all dark and dead, and then you've got this absolutely gorgeous house with a gorgeous garden full of like plants that are doing very well. It has to be someone that knows how to sort of use magic to their favour. And you can see also that I put a few gardening items, because I know that for witches, even in real life, like, plants and gardening is actually really important. I actually have a book about Wicca. I've done a lot of research. I mean, not for this video, that would be going a bit too far, but yeah, I find it a really interesting subject, and I know that a lot of, well, kind of the basis of Wicca in a lot of ways is kind of connecting to nature. And I know a lot of Wiccans who sort of practice in real life, they use a lot of like their own sort of grown plants, or it's like herbs and stuff, and different kind of roots and flowers. They're really sort of important. So I thought, if you were a witch, this sim would have a lot of kind of garden and plants and stuff like that. So even indoors as well, there's quite a few plants. That was kind of my thinking behind it. I know it's really tempting just to go for all kind of dark and dead. But yeah, I think realistically, if you're practicing magic, you probably have a lot of kind of life, a lot of flowers and plants and stuff around you. So yeah, that is what I was going for. So that's why I put that little gardening bit outside. And yeah, as I say, plants everywhere. So seeing the front door here, I made a bit of a mistake. So when I first drew up the floor plan, the entranceway was supposed to be next to this room. So there's that hallway with the stairs, which you can see there. That was supposed to be the entranceway, but obviously I made the path and all the landscaping and the porch and everything next to this room, which is the kitchen and dining room. And oh my god, I spent so long sort of decorating the garden and doing the path. There is no way I could move it all, so I just had to put the front door there, which was kind of annoying because, like I say, it is the kitchen and dining room, so it meant that it was kind of difficult for me to find a space to put the dining table, and basically you walk in to the dining room, so it is not ideal at all. The front door was supposed to be the hallway next to it, but I was kind of stuck with it, and I made it work eventually. But yeah, it was a little bit of a challenge trying to just find space for the dining room, and also just clear a little bit of a little bit of the way for the entranceway, just so the front door doesn't swing out immediately to the dining table. So that was an extra challenge. That was so silly of me. Like, I planned out where the front door would be, but I just put the front door somewhere completely different, and had to make it work. So I say it did work out in the end, but like I say, yeah, it was a little bit of an extra challenge. So you'll see me put a few sort of cat items around because, a spellcaster needs a familiar. So I imagine that this sim does live with a cat, so I put a few of those items around. And then one of my favorite things to do in builds is cluttering kitchens, so that's just what I'm doing here. And then of course, if you're going for a kind of magical theme, there's a lot of items and cute sort of clutter items that you can use in the game, especially with Realm of Magic and Paranormal. Like, I love that little hand with the writing on. I really like using that. So here I am doing the dining room, which, like I said, was definitely a bit of a challenge. I'd originally put like the cat tower, I think that's what it's called. I put the cat tower against the wall, but I was just struggling for space for the dining room so much that I had to basically just move that into the living room to give myself a bit more room. But like I say, I did manage to fit it in the end. And I built this, I think, like the day before the 21st anniversary update. So my last video is the 21st anniversary build. If you haven't watched that, that will be the last video on my channel. But I actually built this one before that build, before the update came out. But I was so excited about the update that I had to build another house, and I wanted to upload that first just because it's a little bit more relevant. But yeah, we didn't have the new items when I was building this. So, but like I say, I was kind of focused on the kind of Realm of Magic and vampire kind of spooky furniture. I find like the items that we got with the 21st anniversary update just a little bit more sort of lighter in tone, a little bit more sort of cheery and light colours, whereas, as I said, I was going for a bit of a dark theme. And speaking of the 21st anniversary, I forgot to mention it in my last video talking about the anniversary, but it was a really sort of weird experience because I watched the live stream for the 21st anniversary where they introduced the items that we would be getting in the update. It was all very exciting, and then of course right at the end of the stream they announced that we were getting bunk beds, which I'm so excited for, and I know everyone else is because people have been wanting bunk beds for the longest time. So Yeah, I was so excited, and I went on to Twitter because I knew that people would be going mad for it, and they were. But I logged on and like everyone's talking about kits, and it was so confusing because obviously they didn't mention anything about it in the live stream. I was like, what the hell are kits? Like, where is everyone getting this information from? But yeah, of course, modders and like their knowledge of the game's coding basically found out that we are getting a new pack type, which is kits, which are kind of smaller than stuff packs. They look like they're kind of a third of a stuff pack, because where a stuff pack has a few cast items, a few build items, and a few sort of gameplay items, kits seem to be either just cast, just build buy, or just gameplay. So they haven't said how much they will cost. Hopefully they'll only be a third of the price of stuff packs. So, I mean, I'm from the UK, so a full price stuff pack here costs £9.99, so essentially, yeah, £10. So hopefully kits will only be about £3.50, but I mean, EA are kind of known for sort of, you know, grabbing money, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're a little bit more than that. I wonder if they're going to be about £5, which would be a huge ripoff, but we'll see. But the annoying thing is that I really like the sound of the free first kits. That's the other thing. I don't know how in the game's coding they've kind of managed to leak the fact that we're getting a new pack type, the types of packs that we're actually getting, and like all the artwork and the descriptions and everything like that. It's crazy. But yeah, apparently we're getting vacuum cleaners, dust, 80s fitness fashion, and country living furniture, and I love all three ideas. Annoyingly, I want to purchase all three of those things. I think they're really cute. So yeah, that will be something that I will be investing in, but I'm definitely looking forward to finding out new information next month in March. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because that was a very sort of strange, surreal thing that I wasn't expecting to happen, but there we go. So yeah, I think this is the last room in the house now. I had a lot of fun building this, as challenging as it was, and I hope that you enjoyed it. You know, it was nice to sort of embrace my dark side, go with a little bit of a black theme that I wouldn't usually. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you're not subscribed already, you can subscribe and you can like and comment this video if you did enjoy it. But yeah, until my next one, bye.